What's up, YouTube? Zach here, and today we will be doing a deck profile. Kind of a weird deck, I guess. They got some support on the new ban list. Today is April 1st, and I am serious when I say that I think I want to run this deck. So, I figure I've done plenty of explaining on decks like this in my channel before, so let's get right on to the profile. Obviously, we run one Grandmaster, pretty standard. 2 is Cloggy. I think I've gone over that before. 3 Keyzons. Still trying to build this deck up. Probably get it hollowed out or whatever and then sell it off again. Anyway, got 3 Keyzons. Probably one of the best cards in this deck in my opinion. Just because he's so easy to summon. 2 Kageki. Thought about upping this to 3, but then I realized 3 Smoke Signals pretty much do the same job. And you know, I think this deck's pretty viable right now just because there's like no hand traps, and that's really what slows this deck down and also makes it easier to run. 2 Kageki. This is kind of the weird part. I only run 2 Kagemusha and 1 Elder. I also cut back on the asceticisms. In my opinion, making Xian is just like one engine this deck has, and Elder and Kagemusha is another, like that is part of the making Xian engine, and then we got rank 4s, exceeds, different stuff you can do with this deck, and with Evil Swarms coming out, I didn't want to focus solely on making Xian. You still can consistently make Xian with this deck, it's just not as often, I guess. Other monsters, we got Zanji, pretty much for beating over Ophion and stuff. Anishi, pretty good card. Less good than he was before, but I think he will be better as the format evolves with the Carnate Dragon, stuff like that. And finally, One Hand of the Six Samurai. This is honestly like the MVP in my opinion. I've used this in so many games just to like tribute itself or tribute a Keyzon, pop an Ophion, stuff like that. So that's it for the monsters. It's really low monster count because you have 4 search cards for almost every card in that deck, or at least all the level 3s. So moving on to the spells, we've got 1 Dojo, 1 Gateway. These are like the 2 cards I'm considering cutting. I mean, that might sound crazy to consider cutting Gateway, but it's like, I want to give this deck the ability to grind, or at least survive until late game when you can go off an OTK or whatever, because this deck does a ton of OTKing. And both of these cards are really bad late game draws, especially Dojo. I mean, Gateway, you need 2 monsters really for this card to be good, so I don't know. Moving on though. Probably the best continuous spell in this deck is 3 Uniteds, draw a card, obviously. And then we've got the Searchers, 3 Smoke Signal, and 1 Reinforcement of the Army. You do need all of them to search your low monster count deck. Only 2 Asceticism. I used to only run 2, but now I have like reason. Before I should have been running 3, but now I really only need 2, and I believe that. Next we've got Spell and Trap removal, we've got Heavy Storm, an MST, and Lance. I chose to run Lance just because, I mean, sometimes people like Compulse Xian, End Phase or something after you used his effect, and you can just Lance and protect him. Stuff like that, it's really helpful, I guess. In my opinion, it's really helpful. And then it also helps Xian beat over anything with 3300 attack, so it's pretty good. And then finally, we've got Book of Moon, Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn's obvious. No Dark Hole, so Book of Moon helps you beat over anything with defense under what Xian can handle. Or any of your monsters, really. All the Mermails have like 1,000 or less defense, I think, except for Lind. So Book of Moon's pretty good against the big guys. Moving on to traps. 2 double-edged sword techniques. I tested 1. Never drew it enough. 2 is like the perfect number. It gives you a late game ability, I guess. Next we've got the 6 Samurai Solemn Judgment. Musakani Magatama. I don't always have field presence, but when I do, this card's pretty good. If you catch that reference, Good on you. Next we've got Solemn Duo. Warning going to 1 actually helps this deck, because Warning used to be pretty much the only shit that could fuck Xian up, and Barkion and stuff, you know, whatever. We got 2 Bottomless. It's pretty standard. This deck doesn't really handle big monsters well, Chaos Dragons in particular, and Bottomless helps with that. And then 2 D Prisons. 2D Prisons. Alright, we got 2 with the Dimensional Prison, this card. Good, obviously. No Mirror Force, I just felt like that card was more helpful. And then finally, we've got these guys. I'm thinking I'll make both of these Fiendish Chains, but for now, pretty good. Especially against Ophion, Breakthrough Skill. Maybe going up in price? I don't know. Anyway, extra deck time. We've got obvious level 5 Synchros, Xian, Catastor, and Beast. And like I said, that should seem pretty standard. The other Synchros we've got are Barkion. No Gaia Charger. I just felt like you didn't need it. Although you might with Ophion. But really you can't even Synchro into it when Ophion's on the field. So Gemini Pearl might be better. Then we got a Black Rose. Originally, I wasn't running this, just threw this in because there are so many times when I want to make a level 7 Synchro, because I'll have like Grandmaster and Kagemusha on the field or something, and I wasn't running one, and I guess Black Rose seems like the best option, although in this deck it doesn't really have the most purpose, so I might switch that out for a Landoise. It's just 2400 attack's pretty good for crashing with stuff and whatnot. And then finally, Scrap Dragon. That should probably come out for something. I just don't Synchro into 8 enough. Although, with this card, you're running 2 of these, it just makes Synchroing, or excess Synchroing, I should say, as in Synchroing after you've made Xian and stuff, so much easier to do. So, I might keep Scrap Dragon in. Maybe switch out for Crimson Blader. I don't know. So, those are the Synchros. Moving on to the rank 3 Xyz, we got Zenmaines, Giga Brilliant, and Leviair. Zenmaines obviously good to sit on if you only draw level 3s and Uniteds, because that happens to me a lot. I'll open Elder and Kageki and 2 Uniteds, so I'll just sit on a Zenmaines with a +1. And then Giga Brilliant for pumping up Xian. You can pump them up to 3100, which is pretty good. And then Leviair, you actually have a lot of times where you can go into it, so why not run it? That's it for the rank 3s. Rank 4s, Black Ship of Corn. This deck doesn't do well against Zenmaines, or Gachi, you know, stuff like that. The 6 Samurai Exceed guy, Shock Moister. Yeah, it's pretty standard. I might take that out when Ouroboros becomes legal. I don't really find myself going into Shockmaster that often, unless I draw 2 Keyzons or something. Then we got an Abyss Dweller for Mermails. You really need it in this deck, because Mermails is one of your hardest matchups. Then we got a Maestroke and a Blade Armor Ninja. That should probably be an Excalibur, just because it's more useful in this deck, but that's what I've got. So, obvious 15 card extra deck. I think you got like 11 traps, 15 spells, 14 monsters, I want to say. I don't know for sure. You can count in the video if you want to. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you will rate, comment, and subscribe below. That's my hope anyway. And I will see you guys next time.